Let's talks. Now in this class we are discussing the subject is power system architecture. Okay, so in power system architecture, okay, so we are discussing our 15 unit. So our 15 is general aspects of distribution systems and substations. So okay, so in previous class we are discussing about the classification of distribution systems. Okay, AC distribution, DC distribution. Okay, so now in this class we are discussing the connection and schemes of a distribution systems. Okay, so let us go for okay connection schemes of distribution system. Okay, so in connection schemes of distribution system, first one is radial system. Okay, so what is the first one? Radial system. Okay, see here in this system, separate feeders radiate from a single substation and feed the distributors at one end only. Okay, so in this radial system, separate feeders. Okay, so different feeders radiate from a single substation. Okay, if you take one substation, for that substation you are connecting the different feeders and feed the distributors at one end only. Okay, so at the only one end. Okay, so here you have to see this is a substation, this is one feeder, this is another feeder, and this is another feeder. This is nothing but the radial system. Okay, so radial system is nothing but in one substation, from the one substation, from you have to different feeders are connected. Okay, for a DC distribution where a feeder OC supplies a distributor AB at a point A. Okay, so at a point A, okay, so you have to take the distributor from the feeder OC. Okay, distributor is fed at only one, that is shows the single line diagram for a AC distribution. Okay, this is for DC distribution. Now you have to see for AC distribution. Okay, so in AC distribution from this feeder you have to, for the distributor here you have to step down the voltage. Okay, from the feeder you can get the 11 kV. By using the step down transformer you have to step down the voltage either by 400 or 230 volts. Okay, and you have to distribute to the different loads. Okay, so this one, okay, this is for the AC radial system for the AC distribution, and this one is the radial system for the DC distribution. Okay, so and this is the simplest, okay, this is the simplest distribution circuit having the lowest initial cost. Okay, so drawbacks. Okay, coming to the drawbacks of the radial system. Okay, so in radial system, see here the end of the distributor nearest to the feeding point will be heavily loaded. What is the distributor connected nearest to the feeder point? Okay, so that having the heavily loaded. Okay, whenever the load is heavy, so at the time the current value, so at the time high, so it cannot lead with the low current. So at that time the current value may be increases. So whenever the current value will be increases, so at the time may it will cause the damage. See here, second one is at any fault to the feeder or distributor cuts off supply to the consumers who are on the side of the fault. Okay, if suppose any fault, okay, any fault on the feeder or distributor cuts off supply to the consumers. Okay, so next one is the consumers at the distant end of the distributor will be subjected to the serious voltage fluctuations when the load on the distributor changes. Okay, whenever the consumers, okay, so whenever the consumers at the end of the distributor, okay, would be subjected to serious voltage fluctuations when the load on the distributor changes. Okay, due to these limitations, this system is used for the short distance only. Okay, because of these drawbacks, okay, because of these drawbacks, the system is only used for the short distances. Okay, so because of these drawbacks, this system is used for only the short distances. Second system connection scheme is ring main system. Okay, so ring main system, see here in this system the primaries of the distribution transformer form a loop. Okay, so the primary, okay, the primaries of the distribution transformer forms a one loop. The loop circuit starts from the substation bus bars, makes a loop through the area to be served and returns to the substation. Okay, the loop circuit from the substation, okay, substation bus bars makes a loop through the area to be served and returns to the substation. Okay, this is the Okay, this is the ring main system. Okay, so here this one is a primary ring. Okay, so for this primary ring here you have to substation. Okay, so from this primary ring here you have to distribution transformers. Okay, see here the loop circuit starts from the substation bus bars, makes a loop through the area to be served and returns to the substation. Okay, that means that is nothing but this is the loop area. Okay, so that is nothing but this will forms a one loop area. Okay, so that's why this is called as a primary loop. Okay. Okay, so and shows the single line diagram for the ring main system AC distribution where the substation and supply to the closed feeder LMN OPQRS. Okay, so here it will forms a one closed loop, that is nothing but LMN OPQRSL. Okay. The distributors are tapped from the different points M, O and Q of the feeders through distribution transformers. Okay, so here see the distributors are tapped. Okay, so the distribution transformer tapped from the points Q, O, M. Okay, so this is nothing but ring main system. Next one is what? Interconnected system. Okay, so in connection schemes of a distribution we are seeing the first one is a ring radial system, second one is ring main system and third one is the interconnector system. See here, when the feeder ring is energized by two or more than two generating stations or substations, it is called interconnected systems. Okay, whenever the feeder ring, okay, so the feeder ring is energized by the two or more than two generating stations or substations, it is called as a interconnecting system. Okay, so this is nothing but the interconnected systems. Okay, so show the line diagram of interconnect system where the closed feeder ring ABCD is supplied by the two substations. Okay, two substations. Okay, and it is supplied by the two substations. What are the two substations? S1 and S2. Okay, that means it is interconnected by the two systems. Okay, so that's why it is called as a interconnected system. Okay, so that is the single line diagram of interconnect system where the closed feeder ring ABCD is supplied by the two substations S1 and S2 at points D and C respectively. Okay, so this is a point D, this is point C. Okay, from this you have to connect the distribution transformers and different distributors. Okay, that means this is called this type of connection scheme is called as a interconnected system. See here, distributors are connected to the points O, P, Q and R of the feeder ring through the distribution transformers. See here, the distributors are connected to the points of the feeder ring through the distribution transformers. Advantages. Coming to the advantages of the interconnected system, it increases the service reliability. Okay, so it increases the service reliability. Next one is any area fed from one generating station during peak load hours can be fed from the another generating station. Okay, any area. Okay, any area fed from one generating station. One generating station during peak load hours can be fed from the other generating stations. Okay, so this reduces the reserve power capacity and increases the efficiency of the system. Okay, so this will be reduces the power capacity and as well as increases the efficiency of the system. Okay, so next we have to see. So because in previous this one you have one small topic. This is requirements of a distribution system. Okay, so what are the requirements of a distribution system? Okay, see here requirement. Okay, when you have to say the one system is a good distribution system means to say that is a good distribution system, you have to requirements. What are those? Proper voltage, availability of the power and demand, as well as the reliability. Okay, so proper voltage. See here, one important requirement of a distribution system is that the voltage variations at the consumer terminals should be as low as possible. Okay, so one important requirement of distribution system is voltage variations. Okay, voltage variations at the consumer's terminals. Okay, should be as low as possible. Okay, so to maintain a low fluctuations as low as possible. The changes in voltages are generally caused due to the variations of the load on the system. Okay, whenever there will be changes in the voltages will be occurs. Okay, those are caused to the variations. Okay, variations on the load on the system. Low voltage causes loss of revenue. If suppose low voltage will be occurs, it causes the loss of revenue, inefficient lighting, and possible burning of out of motors. Okay. High voltage causes the lamps to burn out permanently and may cause failure of other appliances. If suppose high voltage, okay, so if suppose a high voltage causes the lamps to burn permanently, okay, so therefore a good distribution system should ensure that the voltage variations at consumer terminals are within permissible limits. Okay, see here the statutory limit of voltage variations is plus or minus 6% of the rated value at the consumer terminals. Okay, so here the voltage variations are up to plus or minus 6% of the consumer terminal. See here, thus if the declared voltage is 230 voltage, okay, so if suppose you can get the 230 volts, so then the highest voltage of the consumer should not be exceed 244 volts. Okay, so the voltage should not be exceeded to 244 volts, while the lowest voltage of the consumer should not be less than 216 volts. Okay, so highest voltage should not be exceed 244 volts and lowest voltage should not be less than 216 voltage. 216 volts. Okay, so that means here you have to maintain the proper, when you have to say that the distribution system is good means when you have to maintain this proper voltage. Okay. Next one, availability of power and demand. Okay, so availability of power and demand. So whenever you have to require the power, okay, demand. So if you want whatever the power demand, so at the time you have to availability of power demand. Power must available to the consumers in any amount that they are may require from time to time. Okay, power must be available. Okay, to any time according to our requirement from time to time. For example, motors may be started to or shut down. Okay, to be motors may be started or shut down. Lights may be turned off without a advance warning to the electric supply company. Okay, so the motors, okay, the motors should be shorted or shut down. Lights may burn down or off without advance warning to the electric supply company. Okay, so as electrical energy cannot be stored, therefore the distribution system must be capable of supplying low demand on the consumers. Okay, so electrical energy, if suppose the electrical energy cannot be stored, so therefore the distribution system of capable of supplying low demands of the consumers. Okay, so this necessitates that operating staff must continuously study the load patterns to the predict in advance those major load changes according to the following schedule. Okay, so this is the availability of power and demand. So next third one is what? Reliability. See here, modern industry is almost dependent on the electrical power for its operation. Okay, so modern industries. Okay, modern industry is almost dependent on the electrical power. Okay, electrical power for its operation. Homes and office buildings are lighted, heated, cooled, and ventilated by electric power. Okay, so this calls reliable service. Unfortunately, electric power, like everything else that is man-made, can never absolute reliably. So you cannot say that anything in the world is not absolutely reliable. Why? Because all are made by man-made. Okay, so that's why. However, the reliability can be improved to a considerable extent by interconnected system. So another chances. Okay, so that is perfectly reliable, but you can improve by you can be improved by considerable extent by interconnected system or reliable automatic control system or by providing a additional reserve facilities. Okay, so these are the requirements of a distribution system. Okay, so our next topic is AC distribution voltage calculations. Okay, here we have to calculate the AC distribution voltage calculation. See here in AC distribution calculations, power factors of various load currents have to be considered since the currents in the different sections of distributor will be the vector sum of the load currents and not to the arithmetic sum. Okay, so here in AC distribution, the power factors of the various load currents have to be considered. Okay, since the current in the different sections of distribution, the vector sum of the load currents. Okay, so and not the arithmetic sum. So here you have to add the all the current values vector sum. Okay, so the power factors of the load currents may be given. Okay, so here see here the power factors of the load currents may be given with respect to the receiving or sending in voltage or with respect to the load voltage itself. Okay, so first one is the power factors of the load currents may be given as with respect to the receiving or sending in voltage, or another one is with respect to the load voltage itself. Okay, so each case shall be discussed separately. So first we have to discussing power factor referred to the receiving end voltage. Okay, see here, consider an AC distributor AB with concentrated loads of I1 and I2 tapped off at points C and B as shown in figure. Okay, so here, see here, we have to see here, consider a distributor AB with a concentrated loads. Okay, so with the concentrated loads of I1 and I2 are tapped at the points C and B. Okay, so this is a one load C and this is one is a another load D. Okay, so taking the receiving end voltage VB as the reference vector, the lagging power factor at C and B will be cos phi 1 and cos phi 2 with respect to the VB. Okay, so here you have to take the lagging power factors. These are cos phi 1 and cos phi 2 are respectively. So here let R1, X1 and R2, X2 be the resistance and reactance of the section AC and CB of the distributor. Okay, for this AC section, here you have to assume the resistance will be R1 and reactance will be X1. Similarly, and this for section CB, here you have to assume the resistance will be R2 and reactance will be X2. Okay, see here, impedance of the section AC. ZA is equal to R1, that means impedance of this section AC is R1 plus JX1, impedance of section B, CB, ZCB equal to R2 plus JX2. Similarly, load current at point C, I1 bar equal to I1 cos phi 1 minus J psi phi 1, and load current at point B, I2 bar equal to I2 cos phi 2 minus J sin phi 2. Okay, current in section CB, so at the time IC bar equal to, so I2 equal to I2 cos phi 2 minus J sin phi 2. Current in section AC will be IAC equal to section AC. At that time, what happened? So IAC equal to I1 plus I2. So at the time I1 of cos phi 1 minus J psi phi 1 plus I2 value will be I2 cos phi 2 minus J phi 2. Voltage drop is nothing but current into impedance. So at the time voltage drop in section CB, VC bar equal to IC bar into ZC bar. So at that time here you have to write IC bar I2 cos phi 2 minus J sin phi 2 into ZCB. That means impedance. So impedance value will be, so the impedance value in the section CB here already you have to write ZC bar equal to R2 plus JX2. Okay. Similarly, voltage drop in section AC. Okay, VAC bar equal to IAC bar into ZAC bar. So at that time here IAC bar is nothing but I1 bar plus I2 bar into ZAC bar. So ZAC is nothing but R1 plus JX1. Okay, so at the time here you have to write I1 cos phi 1 minus J sin phi 1 plus I2 cos phi 2 minus J phi 2 R1 plus JX1. Okay, so sending end voltage VA equal to VB bar plus receiving end voltage plus voltage drops VC bar plus VC. Sending in current IA bar equal to I1 bar plus I2 bar. Okay, so here see, these are represented all in a phasor diagram. Okay, so this is not important. Okay. Okay, next one, power factors. Okay, power factors refer to the respective load voltages. Okay, suppose the power factors of the load in previous refer to the respective load voltages. Okay, then phi 1 is the phase angle between VC and I1. Okay, so VC, this is VC and I1. Okay, and phi 2 is the phase angle between VB and I2. The vector diagram is represented here. See here, voltage drop in section CB. So that means here with respect to the load voltages. So at the time here you have right I2 ZCB. Okay, so section CB, the current value will be load volt I2. So at that time I2 of cos phi 2 minus J R2 plus JX2. Voltage at point C, VB plus drop in CB. Okay, so at that time I1 equal to I1 at the angle of minus phi 1. So with respect to VC. Okay, so voltage. So in polar form, you can assume the drop in that is equal to voltage value. Voltage at VC at an angle of alpha. So at that time, here you have to write I1 bar equal to I1 at an angle of minus phi 1 with respect to the voltage VC. Similarly, I1 bar equal to I1 at an angle of minus of phi 1 minus alpha with respect to the voltage VB. Similarly, I1 bar equal to I1 cos of phi 1 minus alpha minus J psi phi 1 minus alpha. So at the time here you have to write IAC bar equal to I1 plus I2. So at that time here you have to write I1 of cos phi 1 minus alpha minus J phi 1 minus alpha plus I2 cos phi 2 minus J sin phi 2. Okay, so So here, so that means here we have to write I1 bar phi 1 minus alpha minus j sin phi 1 minus alpha. Voltage drop in section AC, similarly IAC ZAC bar. So voltage at point A VB plus drop in CB plus drop in AC. Okay, so this is the old AC voltage calculations. Next one, the rating of distribution substations. Okay, so next we have to go for the substations. Okay, see here assumptions at constant load density of a short-term distribution planning. Okay, and at increasing load density for long-term planning. Okay, so how you can decide the how you can decide next you have to start the next our topic is a distribution systems, sorry, the distribution substation. Okay, you have to go for the next topic is substations. So whenever you have to substation, the assumptions are at see here at constant load density for short term distribution planning, and second one is at increasing load density for long term planning. So here analyzed a square shaped service area representing a part of the entire service area of a distribution substation. It is assumed that the square area is served by the 4 primary feeders and a central feed point. Each feeder and its laters are three-phase dots represent the balanced three-phase loads lumped at the location fed by the distribution transformers. Okay, see here. This is a square shaped distribution. So here these are the laterals and this is a feeder points. Okay, and these are a distribution transformer. Okay, so this is the area to be area served by the lateral. Okay, so the percentage of the voltage drop from the feed point A to the end last lateral AC is percentage VDAC equal to percentage VDAB plus percentage VDBC. Okay, so this is a simplified voltage drop calculation by introducing a constant K, which can be defined as percentage voltage drop per kilowatt volt ampere per mile. Okay, so at that time the equation gives the various voltages and copper conductor size. Okay, so the equation is developed for the three-phase overhead lines with equivalent spacing of 37 inches between phase conductors. Okay, this equation is developed for the three-phase conductors. The following analysis is based on the work done by the Denton and Reps. Okay, so here see the feeder say load total load of S4 equal to A4 into D kVA. Okay, so here see where S4 is the kilovolt ampere load served by the one of the 4 feeders emanating from a feed point. Okay, A4 is the area served by the one of the 4 feeders emanating from a feed point Mi2. Okay, and D is the load density. Okay, so at that time we have to write S4 equal to I4 D kVA. Since A4 equal to I4, sorry, L4, where L4 is the linear dimension of the primary feeder service area in miles. Okay, assuming uniformly distributed load, that is the equally loaded and spaced distribution transformers, the voltage drop in the primary feeder means percentage VD4 max equal to 2 by 3 L4 into K into S4. Okay, you have to substitute in the equation 4.2 in this equation. Okay. So finally you can get percentage of VD4 main equal to 0.667 into K into D into L4 cube. Okay, so it is in equation 4.5, it is assumed that the total or lumped sum load is located at a point on the main feeder at a distance of 2 by 3 into L4 from the feed point A. Okay. Okay, the equation extends the discussion hexagonally shaped service area supplied by 6 feeders from the feed point which is located at center. Assume that each feeder service area is 1/6 of the hexagonal shaped area. See here, each feeder area is the 1/6 of the hexagon. So this is the hexagonal shape. Okay. So at that time here you have to write A6 equal to T L6 by root 3 into L6. So where A6 is the area served by the one of the 6 feeders. Okay, terminating from a feed point, and I6 L6 is the linear dimension of the primary feeder service area. So here each service feeder serves a load total load of S6 equal to A6 into D kVA. Okay. And the time you have to substitute 4.6 in this equation. So at the time you will get S6 equal to 0.578 into D into L6 square. So as before, it is assumed that the total or lump sum is located at a point on the main feeder at a distance of 2 by 3 L6 from the feed point. So at the time, the total percentage of voltage drop is 2 by 3 L6 into K into L6. You have to substitute in the place of X6 here this equation. So at the time you can get it finally the percentage voltage drop is equal to 0.385 into K into D into L6 U. Okay. So here you have to see the substation service area with n primary feeders. Okay. So here you have to whenever you have the substation service area is surrounded by the n feeders emanating from the point. Okay, assume that the load in the service area is uniform distributed and each feeder serves the area of triangular shape. Okay, see here. So here you have to you have to surrounded by the n number of feeders, but here you have to the load distributed feeder serves area of triangular shape. Okay, see here the differential load served by the feeder in differential area dA. Okay, differential area this one dA. So at the time, so ds equal to dA kVA. ds is the differential load served by the feeder in the differential area dA, that is in a kilovolt ampere. D is the load density in kilovolt ampere per mile, and dA is the differential service area of the feeder. Okay, meter square. Okay, so for following tan theta from the diagram, see here from this diagram here it's theta. Tan theta here you can get the y by x plus dx. From this here you have to write y equal to x plus ds tan theta. So that is equal to x into tan theta. Okay, so at that time the total service area of the feeder can be calculated as n equal to integral of 0 to n dA. So at that time ln square tan theta. Okay, so at that time the total kilovolt ampere load served by the one of the n feeders can be calculated as Sn equal to x0 to ln ds. So at that time here you can get d into ln square into tan theta. Okay, so that is the ds value. So here this total load is located as a lump sum load at a point on the main feeder at a distance of 2 by 3 into L4 from the feed point A. So at that time hence the summation of the percentage voltage distributed for all such area. Here you can write percentage VDN equal to 2 by 3 ln K into Sn. Okay, so at that time here you can get percentage VDN equal to 2 by 3 KDN ln square tan theta. Okay, but n to theta equal to 360 degrees. So at that time here you can write percentage VDN equal to 2 by 3 K into D ln cube tan 360 by 2n. Okay. So here n equal to 4, theta is 45 degrees. That means 4 number of feeders. This is our 6 number of feeders, 30 degrees. Okay, at the time tan theta tan 45 is 1, tan 30 is 1 by root 3. So at the time percentage VDN equal to 2 by 3 K D L4 cube. Similarly, this one for 30 degrees it is given by 2 by 3 into K into D L6 cube. For n equal to 1, the percentage voltage drop in the feeder. Percentage of VD1 equal to half KD1 L1 cube. For n equal to 2, for percentage of VD2 equal to 1 by 2 KD L2 cube. Okay, so similarly like this. Okay, so in next class we are discussing about the bus feed. Thank you. All of you, please subscribe the previous talks.